Hey everybody out there, Chris and Mike here.
Hey guys.
And welcome back to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review. Only 21 episodes away from 200. Huge.
So I did there.
Days.
2 and 0. So I have next.
And for the first time since the DC New 52 start, we actually have more DC Comics than Marvel this week.
Wow, really?
A bulk of the stack for this week are DC Comics. Why? Because of the gatefold covers. A lot of you guys have been messaging me about trying out, if I'm going to be trying out any new series, and this week I tried out 3. Or was it 4? 3 or 4.
Yeah, give or
It
take.
was 3. And we're talking about the books that were released the first week of
10.
April.
The first week?
First week of April.
April 3rd?
April 3rd.
Oh, I thought it was the other week. I get my numbers mixed up.
We're in the second week of April.
Oh, that's why. So it's, yeah. It's opposite day.
Right.
So yeah, April 3rd, 2000.
And this review is a day late, unfortunately, due to the fact that I was doing a lot of work behind the scenes, so to speak. So I didn't have time to do that work and the review. And I still had a couple of books to read, so I figured push it off one day. I know you guys don't mind if it's just a day. I won't get messages, where's the comic review this way. So first, before we get into the big two, let's talk about IDW's Locke and Key Omega issue 4. The kids from the prom are now in the cave, and they're having sort of a rave party. Tyler is stuck in the garage because of the shadow creatures that Dodge created, and now basically Dodge, in Boat's body, is trying to lure everybody from the prom down to where the Omega door is, obviously to infest
Ooh, that's
them
a nice
with.
page.
This is a nice splash page. To infest them with the demons. I'm going to leave that out. You guys will have to read that. Bode's mom is... Bode, she sees Bode as a ghost, but she really can't understand what's going on. None of the adults really can. And Tyler makes a he knows about the rave in the caves and what Dodge what Dodge is basically planning. And now he's running for the cave. Unfortunately, things don't look good in the last page for the kids in the cave. And yeah, to be continued. 3 issues, and it's all over. So 3 more issues. We're at issue 4. So this series continues to be awesome. I left out a lot of stuff. I actually left out a whole scene with another character on purpose. You guys got to read this. And if you haven't read it, as the back of the book says, here's all the graphic novels. They are really sensibly priced. You can check it out on Amazon.com, Midtown. A lot of places are selling the trade paperbacks at a very, very reasonable price, and they're worth every penny, even if you have to pay cover price. The series is worth every cent. Love it. Joe Hill's writing is awesome, and Gabriel Rodriguez's art is awesome as well. Definitely something you guys should be reading outside of the big 2. Now we go into DC Comics, and I put the books I normally don't read first. Stormwatch. I'll give you guys the full gatefold cover. There's a reason why I bought Stormwatch, and that's this character here, the Weird.
The Weird?
That's him. And he is in this book a lot, and he looks basically just like his pre-New 52 costume and everything. I was confused as hell. I got what I wanted to, and that was figuring out what his name was. I'm not a fan of Stormwatch still. Things are changing apparently. Stormwatch, like time is altering, and there's a new Stormwatch or something. I don't even know. apparently a few people that have read this really were kind of lost as well. I'm personally not a fan of Stormwatch. I was mildly interested in the weird. This was my extra comic of the week just to read into, so I leave it up to you guys, but I won't be coming back for Stormwatch. Batwing issue 19, however, introduced the old Batwing quits, and a new Batwing is coming, and the issue starts up with Batman actually talking to David, who is the former Batwing, and we go back before to his last mission. I don't want to say what his last mission is. To be honest, it's issue 19. I've not been reading Batwing for a long time. But his friend apparently dies, and I guess that's a huge spoiler, and he decides to leave Batman Inc., and Bruce actually says, you know, there's always a place for you here. Back at Gotham City, Lucas Fox outdid himself. He created a new Batwing suit, and we get our first glimpse in the very last page of the new Batwing, and there you go.
Wow.
I'm going to spoil it here, guys, so if you want to skip ahead, it's this guy. Maybe it's just me, and anybody who feels they want to assert themselves and, you know, strike me down for saying this. Is Batwing the War Machine to Batman's Iron Man? Because when I was going through this book, I kind of felt like I was reading the DC comic version of War Machine.
Well, he does wear an armor, kind of like...
No, I just feel like Batman is Iron Man, because he's a rich guy in a suit, no superpowers. Same thing with Iron Man. And same thing with Rhodey, and same thing with David, the former Batwing. Now moving into possibly Lucas Fox, I'm guessing. Is it just me, or does anybody else feel that way with Batwing? However, unlike War Machine, this book has me interested enough to say that if it is a light comic week, I wouldn't be too surprised if you didn't see Batwing issue 20 in my pile.
Alright.
This is an iffy comic, depending on money and what else I'm buying that week. That's the first. The final book, Earth 2 issue 11, made me feel bad that I dropped it at issue 9. It makes me...
It was good.
It makes me kind of want to go back and get issue 10, and I just might. Or I might skip it, because it doesn't seem like I'm pretty sure... Never mind. If I say not much went on, somebody's going to jump down my throat and say, no, it's not true. And the reason I bought it is for this cover. Mr. Miracle and Big and Barda are going to be a part of this story arc, and there are other story arcs coming for Earth 2 that really interest me a lot. Without spoiling too much, Flash's mother is being held captive by oh god, whatever this guy's name is. Why does his name completely leave me at the moment? Oh, Wutan. And Flash and Dr. Fate, who isn't Dr. Fate yet, he's still, oh god, how do you say his name? Khalid, are running from this beast, which I'm guessing was introduced in the last issue, which is one of the reasons why I probably would go back and get the other issue. Because apparently Wutan sent this demon after them, or... yeah. So, Jay Garrick's act of heroism inspires Khalid to find Naboo, or the Dr. Fate helmet, and become Dr. Fate again. And for those of you that are wondering about the fold-out cover with Mr. Miracle and Barda, apparently Steppenwolf is alive on Apocalypse, and yes, if this was mentioned in a past issue, because we are 11 issues in, I didn't know. I wasn't reading. Apparently he sends, I forgot what this girl's, somebody to Earth to capture and bring him back. And we also, in this book, I'm skipping a lot of stuff and a lot of dialogue here. The final page is the coolest, and we all knew this was coming, so I'm not really spoiling anything here. we get the first look at Dr. Fate. That's right, Caleb puts the helmet on. He was inspired by Jay Garrick's act of heroism and how he, you know, he's going about with his powers that he actually becomes Dr. Fate again. Well, apparently he was supposed to be called Fate, but because Caleb is a anthropologist and he's a doctor, he has his master's or whatever he was saying, he decides half the name, he picks the other half, obviously stays Fate, so Dr. Fate. This book makes me want to come back for the next issue. So you got one no, one maybe, and one yes. I will be back for Earth 2 issue number 20.
I never thought...
issue number 12. I'll say 20 because
I never thought you'd be interested in Earth 2, but Dr. Fate, I mean...
Earth 2's special is going to have Earth 2's new Batman also, so I'm interested in seeing that as well. So Earth 2 gets the absolutely yes. I would definitely recommend checking it out, even though Mr. Miracle makes one page
better
appearance.
than at least.
Yes. And Batwing, for those of you that haven't been checking out Batwing, if you're looking for a jumping on point, this is a good exit to the previous 19 issues, or the previous 18 issues. Issue 20, I'm guessing, will be a perfect jumping on point for newer readers, because it'll be a new character playing Batwing, and yeah, so it's going to be newer. It'll be a good, fresh starting point for Batwing. But, once again, all depending on how many comics I get, will depend on whether I get Batwing or not. But I notice a lot of the times, like 9 times out of 10, when Batwing comes out, it's when it's a light week from DC anyway, so don't be too surprised if you see Batwing return again.
Yep. Okay, we go into Green Arrow issue number 19. All I could say,
fold-out cover.
I am. All I could say is just phenomenal. I mean, you get the shocking truth, and it's about Green Arrow's father's death. And from the cover, it's Komodo. I got it. Yeah. So this issue, like, the story was really amazing. We get the fight between Green Arrow and Komodo. I'm gonna show some of the page. Naomi and Komodo's daughter, and I forgot to mention this in in-depth review. I think her name is Kamiko. Just remind me if I forget.
This looks interesting. Red Hood and the Outlaws, new creative team, starting with issue 19.
Yeah, that does actually. So, I mean, there are some graphic pages, like I don't want to give away how he killed his father, so just give this as a preview of the artwork, which is great. And Komodo talks about how he killed his father, and I don't want to give too much away because you guys have definitely got to read this. Komodo's daughter shows up, and she gets him really good, and you know. But when he gets out pretty bad, he goes to Henry V, or I think that's how you say his name, and he escapes while they're, you know, while taking care of business. So, yeah, Miko is the daughter's name, which I forgot to mention in depth review. So, the ending part, I don't want to give that away because it's really something else, and I'm hoping that this isn't going to, I mean, it's probably not going to because they make it look like it is, but I really hope not if that's the case, because, you know, because this, I mean,
a lot of people said this was book of the week for them.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Lemire and Andrea? Yeah, Sarantino, I mean, this book is just phenomenal. I mean, I'm enjoying it, and I've got a couple of messages that they're going to check Green Arrow comic books, and I said absolutely recommended, you know, it's awesome, and you'll like it. And that's all for me this week, unfortunately, but...
Moving into the darker side of the DC Universe, Swamp Thing issue 19, and here we go the way I was kind of afraid. Here's your gatefold cover with Superman, who doesn't show up till the very end of the book. Swamp Thing now is basically protecting the green. That's his whole point. The artwork in this book is phenomenal. I really do like the artwork. Long story short, I'm going to skip the entire beginning. You guys definitely can check out the beginning of the book.
It looks funny.
Apparently, there's these mice that are eating a tree, and Swamp Thing kills them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even understand that part. But he goes to Metropolis's botanical garden, and he meets Scarecrow apparently for the first time, who's cutting these flowers. What were they called? Digitalis terrorum. Nasty. Basically, Scarecrow uses them for his fear toxins, and it's funny how he tries to use a lot of his different fear toxins on Swamp Thing. Then one, spoiler alert, works, but knocking Swamp Thing out is not exactly a good idea, because now Swamp Thing's incapacitated, and when you knock out somebody who can manipulate the green or plants, yeah. So apparently now Swamp Thing is either hallucinating or he's knocked out, but his subconscious is now doing all this work, all this growth, this overgrowth. And as I said, spoiler alert, enters Superman in the last page.
Wow, only the last page?
The last page.
I mean, to think with the gatefold cover,
the gatefold covers for most situations only involve one page.
Well, like that
surprises.
Dr. Fate thing.
And there was actually an announcement about the Superboy gatefold cover, and now I must buy it, and I probably will buy it in 2 weeks. It won't come next week. It'll probably come 2 episodes from now. What I was afraid was going to happen with Swamp Thing is happening, and I'm hoping that there is a turnaround. Once again, Scott Snyder has left the book now. Oh, Charles Soule is doing the writing for this book now, and I understand it's very hard to follow up after that huge 18-issue event, which was the Rot World, or whatever you want to consider that full trilogy, because there was a there was the Rot World, and then there was the post. I was very worried where the stories would go for Swamp Thing and Animal Man. Very worried. And unfortunately this week, I will say this book is definitely a 4, maybe a 3.5 out of 5 star book. Not really super spectacular like it's been, but at the same time it's leading into maybe the next issue is going to be bigger. But long story short, the whole story should have began in Metropolis and not where it began in this book. So,
speaking of Animal Man,
Animal Man's next, issue 19, and I could sum this book up for you in one sentence. Buddy Baker is utterly and completely alone. His wife doesn't want to be bothered with him anymore. I hate the grandmother, and words can't describe how much I hate her. What was it? Buddy goes into the red. Apparently the totem that's been with Maxine is still there, but Maxine's hiding the totem, which is the cat, by the way, because the mother doesn't want her to have anything to do with the red or anything like that, and Maxine kind of feels like she wants to be a part of it. And then the whole book ends with Buddy Baker barging in on the totems in the red, and yeah, he was, let's just say it was a very hot-headed argument where he lost against the totems, obviously, and the totems aren't too happy with Buddy Baker, and they basically cast him out, and he no longer has a connection to the red, but he's still Animal Man. He still has his abilities, but he can't feel the red anymore. He can't go into the red anymore unless they call him. And basically that's it. He is completely and utterly alone. No family, no connection to the red, no nothing. And for those of you that have been reading this story since issue 1, the whole big deal with Buddy was his family. They were the top priority. And then Rot World happened, and everything went to hell. And then, because of his short temper, he lost his connection also to the red. And yeah, basically everything from issue 1 to issue 19 has gone downhill, and now he's all by himself. And this cover, he looks like he has a really huge eye. I don't know why.
on that side of it. Maybe it's like one eye going like this, you know.
So now basically from this issue on, Buddy has to pick up the pieces. Now compared to Swamp Thing, the two, this book had a huge impact on Buddy, and that's why this book absolutely earns a 4.5 out of 5 stars, which is a huge follow-up to what's been going on in Animal Man. Swamp Thing loses an extra half star because Swamp Thing has moved forward, but it feels like the story should have started where the middle of the book was. But don't get me wrong, I am interested in seeing where both books are going. I'm just very concerned about where Swamp Thing's going.
Do you think they were going to meet up again, Swamp Thing and Animal Man?
I don't know.
Comics?
I don't know.
Because you never know. They could have another crossover.
I don't know. But would I recommend both books? Absolutely. First of all, I'd recommend Swamp Thing because of Superman and where the story arc's going. And second of all, Animal Man, to see how his life has developed since issue 1 to issue 19. Yeah, it's been a ride for Buddy Baker. We now jump into the digital first. Smallville, issue 12. The 4 weeks in March. Bart goes head to head. Haunted, this is the final part to Haunted, by the way. Chloe gets the final parts of her visions. Bart goes head to head with the Black Rider. And spoiler alert here, Bart disappears. Nobody knows where Bart is. However, before Bart left, apparently he erased all the radioactive stuff on Clark, so now Clark can go back to being and living his normal life. Another kind of spoiler is yeah, they did have flashbacks to previous. I feel like I'm reading the TV series. This feels like it's taking place right after the TV show. So guys, for those of you who've been worried, well, does it feel like right after? This feels like right after the show went off the air. This could be on TV. But anyway, the whole point of this season is the monitors are coming, and they've already destroyed Earth 2, and their sights are now set to this universe and this Earth. Also, the fate of Tess in Lex's brain is dealt with. Not going to say how. You guys have to read this series. It's spectacular.
Didn't Tess die in Smallville?
Yes.
So how come...
You have to read the series. I'm not spoiling it here. However, I will spoil the very last page. Chloe and Oliver are leaving because Chloe is pregnant.
What?
Yeah, you didn't... You watched the last episode of Smallville!
Yeah, but
She had a kid!
Well, yeah, she had a kid, but you said she was pregnant.
In this book.
Okay, well, I know she had a kid.
It's the kid that she's pregnant. The final part to Smallville was 4 issues in the future. Right. It was 4 issues, very good. 4 years in the future. This is present.
Oh, well now I know that. You didn't say that.
Yeah, this is the present.
He didn't say that.
They jumped 4 years in the future. What did you think? Chloe had a kid and automatic 5-year-old?
How was I supposed to know?
Comes out of her loins a 5-year-old boy?
Well, I have to read the book, obviously.
Yes, you do. Because this is spectacular. 5 out of 5.
And it's 12 issues,
really
I
good.
think, a year.
No, it doesn't. No. It's 4 parts to Haunted, so for 4 issues, it was 1 episode.
Also, basically.
Yeah, it's been out for a year's worth of comic books. However, it's still in season 11. It's going to take a while for them to get out of season 11 because they're telling the story in, 4 to 5 issue comic book form. Mm. Green Lantern issue 19. The story finally sort of progresses. Hal Jordan is stuck in the dead zone, and Sinestro is now back in the world of the living, and Sinestro goes to Cougar or Kogar, however you pronounce his home planet. Gatefold cover.
Oh, those were...
Yeah, Smallville didn't have a gatefold cover. And he goes to Kogar to try to rally people so that this way the Green Lanterns will rally behind Sinestro. Enters the first lantern. We get all the Sinestros throughout time and space. And Sinestro gets a what if Sinestro never became a Green Lantern. That's one page. And then it goes right back into the action. And Sinestro actually stops the First Lantern from destroying Kogar. However, because Sinestro exerted a lot of emotion, the First Lantern, spoiler alert, even though everybody else I've watched has already spoiled this, thank God I read this book first, was able to rewind time and actually destroy Kogar. Seriously, the entire planet was destroyed. So Sinestro never saved it. He rewound time back enough so that this way Kogar, Karugar, I'm very bad with these alien names, was destroyed, and everybody, all these citizens from Karugar show up in the dead zone. Hal Jordan makes his attempt to become a Black Lantern, and spoiler alert, but you guys saw the gatefold cover, Sinestro makes the pronouncing, the proclamation. The First Lantern said it's all about to end, but he will soon learn it ends on my terms. So he's faced with a Yellow Lantern. So I have a feeling. No.
With him in the.
I have a feeling that Sinestro's leaving. Is going back to the Sinestro Corps, the Yellow Lantern, so to speak. And Hal Jordan has made the ultimate sacrifice to try to become a Black Lantern. Will Hal Jordan become a Black Lantern in issue 20? Will Hal Jordan and Sinestro save the day? Is there a way to stop the First Lantern? We'll find out in Green Lantern issue 20, unless by some act of God, New Guardians, Red Lanterns, and/or Green Lantern Corps finally move the story forward a bit, which I'm personally hoping for. I'm hoping that this isn't the only title that moves the story forward. The other stories are kind of like support and backup. Finally have the ability to read Action Comics. Action Comics 19. It takes place 1 year in the past. So we're still in the past. We're not up to the present day Superman yet. Here's your gatefold cover with Jimmy Olsen. This was a complete trick. It wasn't Jimmy Olsen at all. So this is 1 year ago. I'm guessing after this story arc, we're going to get back into, okay, I see the time. Alright, I see.
What? I wasn't.
No, I see it counting down. To be continued after these commercial interruptions. So guys, stay tuned. We're going to do Action Comics 19, and then we're going to go into Marvel and finish out this week. Like I said, it was a huge week from DC Comics, and I'm pleased to say I enjoyed a lot of what I read, minus 2 books and a bit of a disappointment. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages, which is still just one commercial because we're still working on ours and we're still waiting on others. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Big Bad Toy Store, the #1 source for all your figure and toy buying needs and more. They accept all major credit cards and PayPal with no money down until your order leaves the warehouse. Click the link in the description below to start your shopping experience today. Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's Dark Avenger Comic Book review. We were talking about Action Comics. We didn't even get a chance to open the book. I just showed you guys the gatefold cover before we had our commercial break. So, this takes place a year in the past. Lois and Clark have their moment at the very beginning where it kind of leaves hope maybe for the future with Lois and Clark, but Clark is still kind of pushing away because, you know, it never would have worked out. And he's even he's trying to talk himself out of, like, oh, it never would have worked. And then he's like, yeah, sure, you keep telling yourself that, Clark. And then we also get a first look at the person that stepped in between Clark and Lois, which is Jonathan, who showed up in action in Superman #1. Turns out Superman was called, there was an attack. Some mecha, I believe they were mecha something, what were they called, mecha droids? And you guys saw the preview. He's saying, I'm not going to throw the first punch, I'm not going to do this. And then he's like, they threw the first punch, I'm going to throw the last. The artwork in this is awesome. I love Tony Daniel's artwork. Tony S. Daniel, I'm sorry. So, Superman, long story short, the whole book is really Superman versus these mech machines. Spoiler a little bit here. Superman thinks one of the pilots looks like Jimmy, but he knows it wasn't Jimmy. And that, bye-bye Jimmy. And Lex is still figuring ways. This is before the events in Superman where Lex is in jail, obviously. Lex is still trying to figure out a way to get rid of Superman. And it turns out that the missiles that Superman was fighting off, spoiler, had a tiny itty bitty trace of kryptonite. So this way, the stuff or the what was it called? Little nanite. Nanite probe would be able to pierce through Superman's skin, and now Lex, and this is the cool part, is able to manipulate Superman's DNA. And yeah, let's just say things don't look good for Superman in the last page here. And
so much.
I like the fact that this is only going to be 2 more parts, and then they actually advertise for, as they say here, then things to come in this panel, in this page. I like the black costume. I don't like how small the S is, but I like the black costume. So who knows what's to come, but 4.5 out of 5. I really liked it. Once again, getting used to this newer version of Superman is taking time, obviously, which is why I'm still a little reluctant every time I read it. But at the same time, when this started, the New 52, I was forgetting stories that were happening in Action Comics. They were forgettable. By the time I had to do the review, I had already forgotten what I read, because it was just one of those stories that felt like it was just forgettable. This, however, is memorable, at least. I can remember what I read because it's gripped me enough that I'm actually interested in seeing what's going to happen next. And it does give you that kind of hope that one day maybe Clark and Lois will get back together. Clark will reveal he's Superman to her again, and we'll move forward once, of course, this whole bullshit with Wonder Woman and Superman ends, which will probably happen in another year or two, because we all know that's not going to last. At least not now, a million years from now.
Well, Wonder Woman, that whole thing is yeah.
So we're jumping into Marvel now, and we're starting with Thanos Rising #1. Basically, it's retelling how Thanos became who he is today, which is the Titan Mongol. And Thanos, the Titan Thanos. And to be quite honest, I was bored to hell with this book. It's him as a kid.
Really?
It's Thanos as a kid, and it just didn't do it for me. It just didn't.
Well, the artwork looks all over the place.
The artwork is kind of all over the place too, but that's not my major complaint. I'm pretty okay with. I'm pretty fine with the artwork. It's just I'm not too interested in this character, and of course, Marvel's going to be pushing Thanos because Thanos is going to be the next, villain in the second Avengers movie, and everything's leading into Marvel Infinity with the Avenger books. I understand there is a purpose for Thanos Rising because it's all leading into that. However, for a $3.99 price tag, I don't think I'll be coming back for the next issue. I really am not looking for an origin story for Thanos right now. If the series does get high praise after this issue, maybe I'll check it out and trade. But to be honest, I'm not really interested in following this story any further than where I am now. And that's the only disappointment from DC, from Marvel this week. Deadpool issue #7, as it says on the title, it's not Marvel now, it's Marvel then. And the artwork and the story all takes place in the past. And it looks oh so glorious. I want to try to find a good page to, there you go.
Is he impersonating Daredevil?
No, he's the Deadpool, so to speak.
Oh, it looked like
and
Daredevil.
And he signs a contract with one of Mephisto's men to keep Iron Man, remember that, to keep him drunk. He has to. They want him to keep. They want Deadpool to make sure Iron Man keeps drinking, and he kind of does the opposite. He gets Tony Stark to quit drinking, because this all takes place during. It's a spoof of Demon in a Bottle, the Demon in a Bottle story arc.
Oh.
So this is once again Deadpool being outside the box as always. Deadpool puts on the Iron Man armor and goes drinking. And when the guy comes and he comes to collect, he's like, excuse me, you didn't do it right. And he's like, in the contract, you hired me to make sure Iron Man drank. And Iron Man did drink. I could barely work that crazy suit. I was so buzzed. He's like, no, I wanted Stark to drink. And he's like, our contract said Iron Man, not Stark.
In the contract.
Right. And Mephisto shows up, and yeah, things don't look good for that guy. And then at the very end, which is hilarious, Cable shows up and says, I have to take you back. You'll come back in 10 years. He's like, I guess that explains where I am until 1991, which is the year, obviously, he was created. And that's it. So this is the only issue where you get a little bit of time travel. Read the whole book. I left out everything on purpose. This is so good. This was good. I'm sorry. I was worried about After the Dead Presidents like everybody else. But this was really good. And I'm looking forward to the next issue. It was hilarious. It's outside the box. It's DeadPool. It's way better than the miniseries that's going on where he's killing everybody. Definitely something to read. This was a really good book this week. Definitely recommend it. As well as Venom 33.
Yes,
things are picking up big time. Toxin, Eddie Brock, is fighting the creature from the last issue, whom we still don't have a name for. Toxin looks really boss, I will say that. While Venom, he actually uses the creature as a bait to bait Venom in. So he's basically telling the creature, waiting for Venom to attack the creature. Whereas Flash is kind of talking with Beast. Beast is like, you gotta take him in. He actually goes to an AA meeting. You know, he's trying to get his normal life all set up, while in the meantime he's still tracking down this monster. And that's what happens at the very end of the issue. Flash shows up and tries to sedate the monster to take to...
The ending page was amazing.
To take to Hank McCoy. And of course, the issue ends at the moment where Toxin shows up.
But in the last issue they met. How is it that they...
No, they didn't meet in the last issue.
They didn't?
No.
I thought they met...
Toxin was in... No, Toxin was in New York. He showed up in... No, Toxin was in New York 2 issues back. Last issue he was on the hunt for Venom, and this issue he actually came face to face with him.
I thought they were sort of going to...
Next issue is the throwdown fight between Venom, Toxin, and this creature, obviously. So
I'm sorry,
I'm
going with Toxin.
Involved.
It's Eddie Brock. I mean,
I don't know. I have a feeling that at some point there's going to be like a mutual agreement or a...
team up.
Not a team up, but like they're going to go their separate ways. I have a feeling.
Maybe it'll be a Toxin comic book.
I don't know. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. A Toxin comic book, Marvel? I would read it.
But this was really good also this week. I really enjoyed it. Left out a lot of dialogue, but basically the story was point A to point B. I found that I read this book in less than 10-15 minutes. So it's a really straightforward story, but it's really good, and it's setting up for an awesome battle between Toxin and Venom. If it's written right and done right, it's going to be awesome, but I have faith in Cullen Bunn to deliver with Venom.
It's going great.
Okay, we now have Superior Spider-Man issue number 7.
Don't even get me started with that comment.
Apparently, if Peter Parker screams loud enough, Doc Ock can hear him.
You're screaming loud enough that I could even hear you. And
yeah, and he also goes toe-to-toe with another vigilante, so to speak, called Cardiac, and he's looking to steal something to help save this baby's life, and the baby is, oh god, I forgot the situation. Is it? I think I went to, yeah, it's the prequel. The severe brain damaged baby needs a certain machine, and he has to go up and take it, and it turns out, spoiler alert, it's one of Doc Ock's inventions, his neurologic scanner, and fight ensues. Cardiac does manage to escape thanks to Peter Parker getting inside Doc Ock, or his own head.
All this pain.
And that's when, long story short, Cardiac gets away, but then the Avengers call a meeting. And basically they want Spider-Man, Doc Ock, to take a physical. And obviously Doc Ock knows he's going to get discovered. He tosses Cap, and yeah, as Ghost Spidey says, I feel the same way. I would give, what I wouldn't give for some ghost popcorn right now. But what Pete's not thinking is, this is Pete's body. So anything that happens to Doc Ock is happening to his body. So, yeah, things are not looking good for Doc Ock Spidey, because now the event, even Thor's like, whoever thou art, stand down or face the wrath of the mighty Avengers. Yeah, we all know that somehow Spider-Man's going to get, or Doc Ock is going to con his way out of this, because Doc Ock is going to remain Spider-Man at least until the solicits for,
I really
as far as
Peter
the
Parker
solicits for
comes back.
June say, June solicits say that Doc Ock is still Spider-Man, so...
Are you kidding me?
And let's not forget the Superior team-ups that are going to be starting in, I believe, July or June. So Doc Ock isn't going anywhere for quite some time, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So stay strapped to those chairs for...
Oh, I'm going
quite
to
some
try
time.
with this.
I'm trying to. I'm just not too much of a fan of Doc Ock.
Neither am I.
And finally this week, all new X-Men, issue number 10. Mr. Scott Summers of the present has made his appearance at the Jean Grey School. And he's making, well, for those of you that saw the preview, apparently Mystique and her band of people are looking to spread fear with the all-new X-Men, the younger X-Men from the past. And anyway, back to the Jean Grey School. Scott Summers is there with a proposition. He's extending a hand to everybody at the Jean Grey School. He wants to extend an invite to the new Xavier School, and yeah, that pisses off Wolverine. And basically he says, this school is doing what we used to do. We're going to teach you how to fight back and how to fight to stay alive in this world, because the humans are going to go against the mutants. Also, President Scott asks Beast to tell the younger X-Men how it's not really how the Phoenix Force got into Scott in the first place, and they explained it was Tony Stark. So there's actually a bit of a fight between young Cyclops and Beast, and young Cyclops is like, this isn't what you told us. None of this is true. So basically both sides look bad. And yeah, both sides are looking bad. And of course Scott Summers shows up. He says, I'll be back in an hour to see your decision. The Cuckoos go, of course, because they're Emma Frost's right-hand women. And one of the young X-Men are leaving. Young Cyclops is saying, what you're offering isn't what we want. We set out to do, not what we set out to do as X-Men. We're staying here to do what we set out as X-Men. And what you're offering isn't. And then somebody, we don't know who, says, I'm coming with you. Young Scott says no. Kitty says, oh no. And Wolverine says, you can't do this. To be continued.
Could I guess who it might be? Jean Grey.
I'm thinking it's either Jean or Angel.
It's gotta be Jean. Why would you think Angel?
Because it's not Cyclops. Obviously it's not Cyclops, because Cyclops is the one saying no. So that rules him out. All that's left is Beast, Iceman, Jean Grey, or Angel.
I'm thinking Jean Grey. That's just my prediction.
Well, before this, there was a conversation Wolverine was having with the young X-Men and Iceman of the present, Storm of the present, and Kitty Pryde in the present, and I believe Beast in the present.
Oh yeah.
No, not Beast in the present. And it was like under normal circumstances we could send somebody undercover, but because and they believe Emma Frost still has the ability to read minds. This isn't normal circumstances, so they can't bring in, they can't have somebody go in there and work as a, what was the word they use now? Undercover. They can't work undercover. That's why I believe it's Jean. Jean is she's basically Emma Frost's equal when it comes to her psychic abilities. She's the one that can block out her thoughts or manipulate people to read what she wants them to believe, which leans me towards thinking the next issue it's going to be Jean Grey.
Well, wouldn't that be too obvious for people to figure out? It might be Iceman or someone else. I mean, they're not going to make it that obvious.
If it's not Jean, then I'll be shocked. But if it's Jean, I won't be as shocked, because it figures, because she's the only one that could go in there as a undercover person for Wolverine's team and get the intel or figure out and bring back what they're doing without them knowing. She's the only one that could protect her mind, basically, from being read. So that's why I believe it's Jean. But I could be wrong. I might It's quite possible because in the last issue, Angel looked like he was the one that was going to jump ship.
I don't know about Angel.
So I don't know, but I just have a very sneaking suspicion it's going to be Jean Grey because she's going to be the one that takes it upon herself to be that undercover agent. Even though the Wolverine and the X-Men are not going to like that or want that, she's still going to do it. I think it's her, especially because of Wolverine's reaction. I think it's Jean.
Well, it's either going to be her or Iceman, as you point out, but I don't know.
Not Iceman, Angel.
I mean, Angel, yeah,
Angel.
that's why I meant Angel.
So I'm thinking it's Jean Grey because I think she's the only one that could pull off a secret undercover agent. So I would definitely highly recommend All New X-Men. One of my favorite Marvel Now books. And this week there weren't that many disappointments. Two books I won't be picking up anymore, which is Thanos Rising, issue 2, and Stormwatch, which I wasn't reading anyway. I just wanted to read about the Weird a bit, even though probably the Weird will be in the next one. It was just too confusing.
Covers, or was that one?
Nope, they're doing gatefold covers all this month, so you can expect 1 or 2 books that I don't normally buy in my pile to give a try out for. I might like the way the gatefold cover looks. I know for a fact there are a couple more books that I'm
There's no way
I'm
I'm getting back to reading All-Star Western.
No, I'm not getting All-Star Western.
Good, don't.
You can relax. That's definitely not one of the books.
No.
But I will be getting other books that are out of the way. One book I might actually want to go back and pick up also is Phantom Stranger, for the simple fact the Question is in it.
What question?
The character, the Question. The guy
you mean, okay, yeah.
And you can read that because that's magic.
I read Justly Dark, so maybe I'll...
So I'll see. I might actually get the Question. I mean, I might get Phantom Strangers issue 19. That came out this week. Next week I didn't get Superboy and I want to get that. So I might get 2 more comics that I normally don't buy. And Superboy looks very interesting. So we'll see where that goes. Maybe it'll reignite my interest in Superboy.
Changing in a good way. Maybe they're going into...
Nothing's going to reignite my interest in Supergirl. That I can promise you. I don't even think a gatefold cover can save that. But anyway, expect a lot of comics I don't normally buy in my piles, and it looks like I will be starting to pick up a couple more DC comics again. So maybe the tables will shift and everything will
maybe the stories will be greater than before.
The Flash's stories look to be really good, and there's some new Superman stories. I'll be honest though, I'm probably not picking up Superman Batman. I cannot stand
the artwork. Oh my god, that was terrible.
I dropped Ozymandias after issue 1 because that artwork was god awful. I don't understand why DC Comics has this artist doing Batman Superman, but
business.
When the art changes, that's when I'll jump on the book. I don't think I'm getting Batman Superman until then. I don't think I could stand it or stomach the artwork, regardless how good or bad the story is. However, I will be getting Superman Unchained. Even though I kind of think the title is kind of stupid. They should have just went with Man of Steel. But whatever, I don't care.
We'll see in time in comic books.
Yes. And with that, that's it for this week's comic review.
So later, guys.
Yep. So, as always, I'm going to wait for you to unclick that. Don't forget to check out comicrelated.com for your comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. What?
The batteries.
Oh, don't worry about the batteries. Look forward to figure reviews. I have a new box from Big Bad Toy Store. You won't be seeing the unboxing probably till after this video because the review is the most important and will come first. But there will be an unboxing to follow this video probably tomorrow night. All New X-Men issue number 10. Awesome. Definitely check it out. Superior Spider-Man issue 7. I leave up to you guys, but I can't wait to see the next issue. Venom issue 33, awesome, definitely something to check out. DeadPool issue number 7 was another really awesome book, definitely something to look into. Thanos Rising 1 leaves me with, like, I don't even care about the rest of this series. If you want a, like, how Thanos Rise, if you want the beginning, Thanos Begins, here you go. There's your Thanos Begins. Get this miniseries. Action Comics 19, really liked it, looking forward to the next issue. I know, I'm surprised too. Green Lantern issue 19, awesome, definitely check it out. Smallville issue, season 11, issue 12, awesome, check it out. Animal Man 19, Animal Man loses everything, definitely something to check out. Swamp Thing 19, bit slow to the new story arc start, but I have faith in the next issue, definitely something to check out. Green Arrow 19.
Phenomenal, enough said, recommended to get absolutely.
Earth 2 issue 11 was awesome. Definitely going to be coming back for the next issue. Batwing issue 19 was pretty good. I'll most likely, not definitely, but most likely will be coming back for issue 20. Stormwatch issue 19 left me so confused. Nope. Just like when I got issue 1. And Locke and Key issue 4, absolutely, definitely something to check out. I know I didn't get, I tried, I really did, guys. I just have not had the chance to read 2 or 3 more of the digital comics, so I apologize. I'm trying my hardest to get the digital comic reviews out there. As soon as I finish reading, I believe, 2 more comics, I'll have a digital comic review for you guys. Take care. Keep reading. Keep collecting. I will see you guys really soon on Dark Avenger Inc. Don't forget to check out darkavengerinc.com as well. Right now it takes you to our YouTube channel. We are working behind the scenes really diligently to get the website going.
And don't forget bkbn.net as well.
Yes, bkbn.net. How did you... We're talking about darkavengerinc.com.
Well, I was just mentioning it.
darkavengerinc.com. We're working on it. It should be up and running within a month or 2 or 3. Don't quote me on that. And until then, it takes you to our YouTube page. If you're not subscribed to Dark Avenger Inc., definitely subscribe, because we try to give you guys a couple of videos each and every day so you guys have something to watch. Take care, everybody. Keep reading, keep collecting, and I'll see you guys next time in another Dark Avenger comic book review. Take care, everybody.
Later, guys.